Okay.
Yes, my great, wonderful fans, my brothers and sisters, wherever you are, all over the world. I remain the great Amama International. Happy Tuesday morning from the great Amama International. Yes, smart opposite, your petition is already in AIG office on the desk of DC Commissioner of Police. I repeat again, smart opposite, your petition is already in DC office. DC Ayo, the DC Commissioner of Police, for your threat against my life. Yes. I want to let you know, anytime you come to Benin, you are going to be picked up because your petition is waiting for you in DC office in Zone 5, Adesuwa Road. I just make you know that one. Your your petition is already waiting for you there. And as for Albert Obaze, I'm giving you 48 hours. I'm giving you 48 hours to go and apologize to the king of the Benin Kingdom and every Edo people at large. This is my message this morning. If not, then we bring your father here, for that disgrace will be upon you. You understand? I'm giving you 48 hours to apologize to the king of the Benin Kingdom and to apologize to every Benin people. You have been insulting our great king, the upper top mayor of the Benin Kingdom, for some time now because of Obaseki. I'm giving you 48 hours to go and apologize to the king. If not, your location have been found. Your location have been found. I'm giving you 48 hours to go and apologize to the king of the Benin Kingdom and every other people at large. Okay? And my short message be that this morning from this great Amama International. Today is Tuesday, 9th of December. Now I make this video early morning. 48 hours to apologize to the king of the Benin Kingdom and to apologize to the people of Edo State. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now my short message is this morning. Take care of yourself.
All right, my people, how una dey? Thank you all for coming and feel free to write where you are watching from. I salute every one of una, whatever locations where una dey watch this Ogbonge broadcast from. Greetings to every one of you. I salute una. And once again, we say kudos to Amama. Amama, we say thank you very much for your job well done. We really give you kudos. We are behind you. We are behind you. Enough is enough. We really give you kudos for this job well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. People will still give you the location. We still appreciate them. So very soon, I believe my good comrade there, we go request, we go bring you on air, make you come still talk to your people. You will bring you on air, make you come talk to your people. My people, when I see the headline over there, enough is enough. So this particular broadcast today, this will not be shy play matter. Adam Eben, Maya you. So now it be the Ogbonge matter where bring us come out as the Joshua. We don't care how many people when Edo Seki won't give block, maybe the park come out of media, they talk rubbish. We dey here when we go they expose them. When we go they expose them, all their lies, we go to debunk all, and we go to give on the real fact. We not go just come say we dey talk for talking sake. No, as we dey come, we go to give on evidence, we go to give on proof, and we go to debunk them, and it go to clear. una go dey see am and una go dey hear am. Una go dey aware say all of them don dey cry now. All those Ogionba no do what Benin. Ahianti why? The one wey dey for Spain, wey dey put to Matthew, only know what. No mo kan left wa. O kan re France yezuo, e dey gbo ya yese. Open to Matthew. Ogionba hin. We don't investigate you. I will rather see you look okay. Because most of una, we don't know where una for come. Mama, I think it's shock una. Where una see Alfredo Yinesu, the right time for your war. Say, hey, Papa, not be your motto. You know shock una. But when we go to talk, people go to feel say what we talk not be him. Akobeno Munigo, he use and sing. He said most of all these people when they call crisis of our state. They not be the issue of our place. Any young go, any young mafia, any young magbodo, magbedokpa. I'm wait any young like Guale Dokpa. They are all enemy of your bayangi. All of them now don't they cry. We're not surprised to see Alfredo Yinesu no Gionba come right for your hair, right now for social media. Say Papa. Now from then whether na Jesse Papa for come. Jesse Jesse Rigro do ya be the kino ya be gola. They just say it's shokuna for una to hear all those things, right? For when we go to talk, una don't they understand our pace now. We don't go fist away be say if you go to bring our place down. We not green. This time around a bomber to bomber. Omo no we area Virginia e deni ya we are ready for you people. We are ready. That small boy went there for America. Whether na smart, that agbo. That one don't they cry for that side. You all they use all like they shout. Me, I not see you. You too small. I will come and write a message to you. No. What will it be? The one where you sit there for Spain. No what? Open to Matthew. Only no soon we will then wear what. You will not write freedom from an amigo. Umagbe freedom kepa. Umagbe freedom better than amigo. We winner. Umagbe freedom. Back from here, I'm aware. But at the end of the day, you know, walk your power, your head up. Era kisi olukuri. Why you can make and see oluku? Come here, call the rank. They talk anyhow. We are ready 24/7 for you guys. 24/7. Now we're ready for now. As soon as they come, we dig it back. We will call the give una goto. So I also make let una know say with the year una cry. For this particular one when you carry us come out, now very important another ogbonge brokers. Another important update that we will give una so. So make una carry popcorn. Wherever place one of the watch from. Carry popcorn, make you sit down. Okay? Make you listen to Congress there. Carry popcorn, make you sit down. Our Baba follow us, they broadcast today. He will follow us, they follow us, they broadcast today. Utete Negiabi on a shift Oba Dollar Boyi of Benin Kingdom. He did this, he get message for una. Okay? He get a lot to talk today. So una go hear from our Baba Utete Negiabi Oba Dollar Boyi of Benin Kingdom. He go join us for this Ogbonge broadcast. We still get time for our Congress here. Congress Timber. The day here. People will know history. They go tell us. We won't know. Olakoko want to know more about Adam Eben. So our Congress day here, Congress Timber, day here. We can welcome her for conversation at least to everyone. Our one and holy Okakuo of our time. Prince Joseph Igeho, he here to still talk to una today. We know they talk for talking sake. When they talk, they give una evidence. They let una know how all these Ogionba people take the rants everywhere. So we are ready. We're not wrong. Our one and holy coordinator, Papa Case. Put out for TikTok, you go see him. Anywhere you write time, you go see him. Papa K day here with us, Overa father. He day here when we won't put mat for this matter we concern Adam Eben. And make una not forget to tag Odiono Saige. Tag Odiono Saige for this particular brokers. Make una tag Odiono Saige for this particular brokers. Because anything where all this bele modupe o ewa bele modupe o ewa, anything where they do now Odiono Saige war, then we for the siam. I know say you know they post anything where bele modupe o, anything where they do. I know get right to tell you what to do with your brokers. I don't get right to tell you what to do to anything when you want post for your page. But when you go see Adam Eben, at least we may because whether your papa na Yoruba you na still you be full of motor, I don't know. I don't want to judge you. But now your page before the scene, whether not because they go give you chief title, I don't know the one where they give you for Yoruba land. I don't know. Now make you do anything where they do. If they put anyhow they do Adam Eben, now you defend the poster. And you never come explain to us how Adam Eben, chief prince of Ooni of Ife, will be chief prince, Ooni of Ife Oba, Ogba Ogebo, now chief prince they call him, not be Oba. Not be Oba. All those chief priests, now money they take the buy him. If you get money, you can go carry chief priest anyhow you want them. The way people they do them, you get money, they will give you. So John Osage, if you they post Adam Eben, make you they write something put. May we know who whether what you they post, the user they deceive the masses or you use the poster for posting sake. Because one, whether you the verse, say they don't give you shit title for Benin. If you do well, not be you to ever give. Now your papa, Akobe papa na shift today na Akobe. True Akobe, now they take give you papa. So when you say, amana mu shift you munera. So if you need shift for Benin, you go check your way. You go check your way. Now your way na determine. Okay? Now determine. Shift title. Emo bumbebedo. Every man, go say let us say yourself. He there for Lagos. Agiuntie. Ona yesi one. Ya so ege. Every no give you na email. Ya so ege. Oma pataki ye hive wo give na ene ya tie. Go and verify. Ogbese ana giuntie. Ebidisha no gbese. No yet guayari, no yet yari ne don't yet guayari ne gua. Mota a musician no pay to a 40 habon. Who pay to habon. One track of paro no yari mom get gua. You are a mumu musician. Where musician can me ye? I tiny one musician so no who I get I will try best to work. No worry mom get egua. We know this story. I come number one today. Akobe can never play one album or money track of Bajo one or any ya, no lakoko, ya rate number one. And the number one ni egilino. Ain't no way round. Noah, no wali kid way larry. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate you now. Thank you all. We really appreciate, as I talked about before, make we carry puff come. Sit down, make we listen, make we hear from the people that matters. Comrades, we will update us concerning Adam Eben. I appreciate you now once again. Thank you for coming. So I did Joshua. I will now hand over to my great leader, Comrade, Noveda Father, the coordinator of our time. My leader, up to you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Mercy. Welcome. Olakoko, thanks once more again for all the time, creating time for us to use your platform to inform and fight for this reawakening, because we are waking our people gradually, even if it's one or two, because it is one man tells another. When we are able to convince one person to know the truth, that truth will convince the other person knows what to do. And so he goes still to the convince. So once more again, I thank you, and I also greet your fans. And I greet those also who still did the opposition. We are all Edo people there. There is one thing that is clear. Is either you bend willingly to the truth, or the ancestors or the nature or the land will bend you to the truth. Whichever way you choose, there's no way negative force is going to be victorious in this fight. No way. It's a clear thing. So it's either you willingly bend, or the nature will bend you, or the land will bend you. Whichever one, bend na bend. So Epa, I greet you and I welcome you, my Honorable Prince Joseph Ogio, the Astoro of our time, Ologo Shere of our time, Domosa, Domo. And my comrade Timba.
Whatever koyo wabe venega waya wabi tota wabi bota.
Domosa. My Honorable Brother Timba, United Kingdom, you're welcome. Greetings, sir. Welcome to the show today. Brother Timba, are you there?
Yeah, waya bota, Domosa.
Okay. Today,
Bota.
today we will be talking on the issue concerning the Ada and Ebe, because we have witnessed the situation whereby the Ooni of Ife is using the Ada and Ebe to give out a title out, and not only giving it out as a present or a recognition for any title be given to a Yoruba person, but using it to give title to women. For us, that is also an abomination. So we have seen the encroach in our history. So the only thing that have been the wedge disturbing them from actualizing their dream is Ada and Ebe, our symbol. So we know this is a calculated attack to yield fruit in the next 20 years or 15, because if we did not react to set the record straight, so that Nigerians will know the origin and owners of Ada and Ebe, in the next 20 years, due to what we are witnessing now, even in our state, concerning the Obaseki issue, a lot of people don't even know about our history. So this thing will also occur, whereby our sons and daughters will even believe that Yoruba have been using it. So because we refuse to act. So that is why we said we will never allow any stone or any action that is negative towards our culture, tradition, not to be answered, because it was a mistake. That is why the situation we find ourselves today, people bastardizing our history, it is because we refuse to act at the appropriate time. So never will such incident happen again. So that is why we are here today to talk on issues concerning the origin of Dada and Eben, and how significant it is to our kingdom, and also what led to it that made a lot of Yoruba cities now taking right or trying to claim right of ownership to Ada and Eben. So we are here today. So first and foremost, I would like to, first of all, once more again, welcome you, my brother Timba. I would like to start with you. Please, sir. I know the Benin history is very big, large. So our constitution today is going to be on Ada and Ebe. So you're welcome once more. Please, the floor is yours. Kindly talk to our people about the origin of Ada and Ebe. Thank you.
Okay. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is a very sad situation where we now have a a people that are seeking for nothing but ethno-political consolidation, trying to lay claims to many royal symbols and paraphernalias, simply because of the fall of Benin and the treachery of people like Agua Baseki, the treachery of people like Izomo Moroyi, and a host of other chiefs that contributed in the fall of Benin, because if not for that case, we won't be having these kind of problems that we have today. Okay. I just want to tell my people that today I will try my best to narrow the historical narratives. Just like Papa King said, Edo history is extremely large, and it will be very difficult for us to put them in a condensed form, but I'll try my best. Okay. The other Eben, as we say today, is the Benin Royal Coat of Arms. Just like in Nigeria, we have the coat of arms of Nigeria, and anywhere you say Nigeria as a country, you are always going to recognize them with the emblem, with a coat of arms. You can say it has a 2 horses and an eagle and a little bit of vegetation. That is Nigerian coat of arms. All right. And Nigeria is a country with a territorial boundaries. If you cross, if you're traveling from, say, Lagos, you're going all the way to Republic of Benin, which was formerly known as Dahomey. Okay. You are going to be seeing the coat of arms, but the moment you cross into the territories of the Dahomey or Republic of Benin, you are going to be seeing the coat of arms of the Republic of Benin, because it's a country of its own. Likewise with Benin, okay, right from time immemorial all the way to the year 1897, the coat of arms of Benin is the Ada and Eben, is the Benin sectors. Okay, so any attempt that to rewrite this and to try to appropriate this is going to end in futility. So I want us to understand this. What does the Ada and Eben represent? Like I said, it's our coat of arms, and it is not every territory that will use the Ada and Eben. The most common one is the Eben. Ada comes with justice. Okay, it's only a kingdom that the Oba, that the Benin monarch, has given that right to execute justice, to have a judicial power that has that eligibility to use the Ada. But in most cases, the most common one that are given to chiefs is the Eben. Okay. So in this section, I'm going to walk through where the Ada and Eben come from, what it symbolizes in our political and spiritual life. I'll also try to talk about how they were used to enforce authority, in Benin, and I will give an example of that. Okay. And the reason why we are having some of these commotions today in terms of people from other tribes in Nigeria, in its present landscape and political landscape and characterization. If you go to the west or southwest of Nigeria, you're going to see people making use of it. If you go to the southeast of Nigeria, you're going to see people making use of it. If you go to the south of Nigeria, you're going to see people making use of it. A lot of kingdoms making use of it. Okay? But because of the Nigerian political landscape and the presence of Wazobia, so these people are not trying to use their political expediency to try to lay claims to the Ada and Eben and to try to write themselves into our history so as to lay claim to it. In the southwest today, they call it Ada and Abiri. okay, which is a copious aberration, okay? If you go to the Southeast today, they call it Ada and Abani, all right? So the question is, what's the origin? Ada and Ben, they are not just random ceremonial souls. They date back to the 16 common eras, the year 16 common eras. And that was introduced by the Ogisoas at that time. In that land, we call Igodomigodo. Okay? So Ogiso era was the second Ogiso in Igodomigodo after the rule of Ogiso Igodo. Okay? As a matter of fact, the land Ubini Nopero was given a nickname Igodomigodo after the first Ogiso Igodo. Okay? So it is more or less like an appellation. All right. So the other, which, we might call the sword of honor, it actually represents that divine authority and sovereignty of our people. And it's only wielded by our emperor, which is the Oba. So if we're going to make the hierarchy between Ada and Eben, you'll find that the Ada actually has or rank higher in terms of supremacy, because of the supreme command, that it carries or embodies. Eben, on the other hand, is mainly for ceremonial activities. You see most chiefs, they use it in rituals, dances, any kind of state ceremony. All right. And it normally represents the dignity, the continuity, and also the cultural validity of our people. Okay. So now the question now becomes, why are other people trying to lay claims to it? Why are they trying to lay claims to it? Okay. And the only valid answer here is because they are trying to fill in the gap that is lacking in their false historical narratives. All right. After the fall of Benin, or even before the fall of Benin, that was when the British was planning. That was when they were planning how to essentially capture the kingdom or the empire, because they saw that the vast territories of what is now known as Southern Nigeria, has so many tribes, so many ethnic groups, okay, that they were all ruled under the control or the suzerainty of the Benin monarch. But yet there was something missing because of the fact that Benin never practiced any form of policy of assimilation. In other words, trying to force people to learn the central language, okay, or the king's language, which is Edo. So they found that as a loophole, and then they began to make treaties with individual kingdoms. All right. So it was at this point that, because the main ones that we want to talk about today would be the political association known as Yoruba. Okay. So they chose the Oyo language. All right. They brought in characters like Ajayi Crowther, Henry Townsend, the CMS Church, to set up the foundation of a language or a linguistic identity that will be used later, okay, as a way, to take over territorial integrity of the Edo people or of the Benin Empire. So they started propagating the languages, all through colonial times. So the language called Yoruba was basically staged as a form of a way of creating an identity, that we also have a spiritual connection. And that spiritual connection that they were looking for is stemmed from Benin's history. because they understood our history and our connection to a place called Ohe, which is also known as Ife, which is in current-day Omala local government area of Kogi State. Okay? So they know that we normally go there for pilgrimage, every year up to the reign of Oba Ewari the First, when he essentially went there and invoked the spirit Eimidu back to Benin. Okay, so they understood this relationship. All right, many historians wrote about it. And what the British did essentially was to create a replica, of that Ife or Ohe in Kogi State, in a place now known as Ile-Ife in Osun State, a place that had no historical significance whatsoever. Okay, a place that was not even in existence until the reign of Alaafin Adelo Agunloye in the year 1870, where he essentially relocated some people from Okeigbo to go and settle in that place there. That is now known as Ile-Ife. Okay, so after the fall of Benin, the British actually wanted the Edo people to be speaking Yoruba language, and they succeeded because many people themselves, that call themselves Yoruba today are actually of Edo origin. And how do you know this? You know this through the Ada and Eben. Okay, if you go to places like Idoani today, all right, the very first king there that was sent there, came from Benin. The Alani of Idoani. Okay, so, and if you go there up to today, they use the Ada and Eben symbol. If you go to Owo Emade, you are going to see them making use of Ada and Eben. But today, because of Yoruba's difficulty to pronounce GH, okay, as a double consonant sound in Edo language, if you check the Edo orthography, we have the GH. Edo call it Abidi Nagbeva. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So instead of Owo, their difficulty, they not call it Owo. They use W to replace it. Okay. Another thing that they have difficulty would be the pronunciation of the letter Z, which we say Z, and they normally replace letter Z with J. That's why if you go to a code today, you see the title Obazwaye, and then they turn it to Obajulaji, okay, because of the difficulty to pronounce letter Z. If you go to places like Akotogbo, you are going to see them making use of Ada and Eben there, and they all trace their ancestry and the origin and the ownership to the Great Benin Empire. If you go to Itagbolu, you are going to see it there. The Ada and Eben is there. If you go to Mushin, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there. If you go to Ikorodu, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there. If you go to Oto, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there. If you go to the Saleko, mainly the Eko Kingdom, founded by Orogwa, all right, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there. Okay. If you go to Ikiri Ekiti, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there. If you go to Edo Ekiti, which they now call Ado Ekiti, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there. Okay. So if you look at those vast areas of land, you can see that the Yorubas are the biggest opportunists and beneficiaries of the British invasion of the Great Benin Empire. Okay. So now, you check every other places in Nigeria. Look at Ishekiri. All right, they use Ada and Eben there. How did the Ishekiri get the Ada and Eben? Was it the Ooni of Ife that gave it to them? The answer is no. The answer is no. If you go to Ogba in Rivers State, they use Ada and Eben there. Was it given to them by the Ooni of Ife? The answer is no. If you go to Uromi, they use Ada and Eben there. Was it the Ooni of Ife that gave it to them? The answer is no. You go to Ugboha, you go to Igweben, you go to Ewato. As a matter of fact, the 35 dukedoms in Esaland, you know, you are going to see it there. You're going to see the Ada and Eben feature prominently. Was it the Ooni of Ife that gave it to them? The answer is no. Okay? You go to Ososo, they use Ada and Eben there. You go to Nsukka, they use Ada and Eben there. You go to Ika, they use Ada and Eben there. You go to Asaba, they use Ada and Eben there. You go to the Enuani people, where they not call the Anioma, you see Ada and Eben there. Was it given to them by the Ooni of Ife? You go to Delta State today, you see all the kingdoms in there. Whether it be Yoruba, whether it be Okbe, whether it be Isuko, you see the presence of Ada and Eben. This is a testament of how great and massive the Benin heritage was. Even if you go to the Ijaw kingdoms like Oboi, you go to Degema, you are going to see Ada and Eben feature prominently there. Okay? Now, this current Ooni of Ife, you know, ever since his accession to the shrine as a priest in Ile-Ife, he's been doing everything possible to rewrite our history, to write himself into our history. Okay? I was of the opinion that he was paying people on the internet to distort our history on Wikipedia, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter. But I never had any evidence for it. So it was just my opinion. Until recently, he started giving award to some of these people, taking pictures with them. So that was nothing but a confirmation that he is directly responsible for this distortion. Okay. And whenever the political association called Yoruba, whenever they try to lay claims to this Ada and Eben, they always hit a wall, and that wall is the Ada and Eben. That has always been a problem for them. Since they are all claiming that they came from a place called Ile-Ife, which is a lie. For example, the Ijebu people, according to the late Awujale of Ijebu, they trace their ancestry all the way to Sudan. They have no connection with Ile-Ife. But in order to create a semblance of homogeneity, the British manufactured this place called Ile-Ife and said, all of you came from this place. Okay? So if you are doing it on the basis of languages, these people have their own distinct and unique languages that they speak. Okay? If an Ijebu man is speaking, an Ife man will not understand. If an Ife man is speaking, an Oyo man will not understand. If an Oyo man is speaking, an Ikale person will never understand. But because of over 112 years of Yoruba language propagation, you know, you cannot see them missing the Yoruba language, the Central Oyo language, with their own natural God-given languages. In some cases, there are even some people that have gone completely into extinction because of this unholy union.
Example?
Okay? You can talk about the Yowu people. You can talk about the Okun people. All right? I mean, you know, if I ask you now, have you ever heard of a tribe called Igbomina in Nigeria? You say no. Okay? What about Ketu? These were all distinct tribes, distinct identities. Do you understand? How many people in Nigeria today hear of the Egba people? Okay, but the Egba people were never Yorubas. You see, but because of the acceptance of that identity, that political identity that was formalized in the year 1919, you know, so you can see that they've lost their own distinct identity. So that is ethnic cleansing in a different form. Okay? So you see the same thing with the establishment of the Igbo language. You see the Mambalawa people, you see the Okrika people. you see the Oka people, you see the Eza people, you see the Abriba people, or even the Galas, the Domas. These people have lost their identity because of the unholy union called Igbo Political Association. You say, and we would have also been a victim, which was the planned work of the British. If we are remaining in the Western region and Obakenzu never advocated, okay, for the creation of the Midwest region, okay, and the use of a political language like Yoruba as an instrument of state policy by Awolowo and Akintola, we would have also been victims. The Shekiri people would have also been victims. The Urobo people, the Ika people, the Western Ijaw people, okay, that now made up the Midwest region. Because Yoruba was used as a way, all right, because if you are in a public school, you have to learn to speak Yoruba. If you are in the civil service in Ibadan, because that was the headquarters of the old Western region, you have to learn to speak the language. So majority of people that speak the language today, they are not Yoruba. You are not Yoruba if you are not from Oyo. That is the fact. Okay? So these are some of the issues. So the Ooni of Ife found that there was a gap, there was a word they were always hitting anytime they tried to rewrite Benin history. They see the Ada and Eben. It's prominent everywhere across southern Nigeria. Okay? In every debate, in every internet saga, they are always hit with this question: how come you are using the Benin royal symbols of the Ada and Eben? And was it 2023? I can't remember correctly the year that our Oba went to Lagos and proclaimed that Lagos is a Benin territory, or or the nucleus of Lagos. Okay. After that meeting, you notice that he went to the museum in Lagos, escorted by the governor of Lagos State, Governor Sanwo-Olu, and the museum guide there made a statement talking about when he was pointing to Ada and Eben. He called it Ada and Abere. And then he made a fallacious statement, the sacrilegious statement that every Yoruba kingdom, this is what you find there. Okay? So trying to lay claims to it. Then immediately, the governor of Lagos State, understanding what was going on, immediately said that is a Benin royal sword. The governor of Lagos State, so the video is there. That is the Benin royal sword. So even they know, but because of the presence of the Benin monarch and the entourage, it was difficult. So can you imagine the number of people that idiot, that miscreant, that returning slave from Brazil, okay, imagine the number of people that he has misled, the number of people that have visited that museum that he has told that the Ada and Eben is what you find in every Benin, every Yoruba throne. So what does that tell you? That those so-called Yoruba thrones, where you find the Ada and Eben, okay, that they all have their ancestry and loyalty to the great Benin Empire. That is what they will not say, and that is the truth that they fear. Do you guys are you guys following me?
Very well. Continue. I will come in when I will ask you a question. Go ahead, sir.
So everywhere you go, same goes with our beads. Recently now it's been going around with Benin royal beads, our Koro beads. Can you imagine that? And he was interviewed and he admitted that he went to Benin. They asked him why is he dressing in the Benin Koro beads and our attires. Okay. And he admitted, thank God he admitted on video that he went to Benin to express the bead. Okay. So he has expressed the bead. Okay. Nobody sent him any warning. Nobody reprimanded him. Okay. And then he now graduated to start to use the Ada and Eben. The first time I saw this was, I think, probably October this year, if I'm not mistaken, when he first tried it. But because there was no sort of pushback or anything like that, So he persisted in doing the same thing over and over again.
Mr. Timber,
Yes, sir.
Ada and Eben, origin is from Benin Kingdom.
It's from
Now,
Benin, and I said it's from Ogiso Ere.
yes. Now, can you please touch on when the first royal son from Edo or chief that was appointed as a duke or nominated as a duke in Yoruba land, the first person to bring this Ada and Ebe there? I mean, the first time Ada and Ebe start being used by any of the Yoruba kingdom now, which we all know they have a link, they have their ancestral home in Benin. But I wanted to touch on it. The first time this Ada and Ebe leave the source of the present day Edo Midwest Bender State, going outside to the west, the side we call Western Nigeria now, which is in the Yoruba side. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so the first time that happened, was actually in the year 1503. Okay. And that was immediately before the coronation of Oba Esige in the year 1504. Okay. So there was a battle between Esige, that's Prince Osawe. Prince Osawe was later known as Oba Esige. And there was a battle between him and Arwan, also known as Prince Idubo. Okay. So during that battle, okay, for who is going to bury the body of Oba Ozoloa and who is going to be the head of the throne, Arwan's mother, we all know, is Queen Ohomi, and Esige's mother was Queen Idia. Okay, so during that battle, the Iyasere of Udo, as at that time, because Udo was given to Arwan Ukemeze or Prince Idubo, to control. Okay, but and Udo has Iyasere. So during that time, that was when the Iyasere of Udo, whose name was Osemuge, okay, when the Benin forces, the Benin army, went down to Udo, and Udo's attempt to resist the army and the forces of Benin, when they could not resist any longer after they heard that Arwan has passed away, okay, so they fled to a place now known as Ondo. Do you understand? Emanudo. So if that's Osemuge, yeah, that I just mentioned, if you go to Ondo State today, they will tell you it's Osemawe, yeah. If you look at the name Osemawe, remember what I said about GH and the pronunciation and their difficulty, okay, and
Yes.
how they essentially transform GH into W, okay. So look at the name Osemuge and look at the name Osemawe. You can see the similarities there now, okay.
Yes.
So that's the very first time that has happened. You can see, okay. So other places, Ifon, Akotugbo, Idoani, Ipele, and all of that, these were all founded by Benin princes, okay, notably Oba Zolwa, that's Prince Okpame, okay, just the way he founded places like Oras, places like Edo North today, Uneme, and all these places. They actually declared them to be princes and princesses, before he attained the throne in Benin. Okay, so even they recognize that Ozoloa was their father or their progenitor. Okay, so that's the first time that the Ada and Eben was ever used, in this part of Nigeria called the Southwest. Okay, remember, these are all still Edo territories. Oba Voramen did not cede his territories. We must not forget that. Okay, the fact that they speak a different language there today does not mean that they own the territories. The issue of territories in Nigeria, I feel, has not been properly documented or discussed in the Nigerian House of Representative or the Senate, this is something that they have to discuss. You cannot divorce your wife and still have his picture on her picture on your wall. You cannot divorce your husband and still have his picture on your wall. If you are saying you are no longer part of the Benin Empire, okay, or Benin heritage, why are you still using Benin paraphernalia? Why? This is one of the things that the British failed to do. You know, now that you've captured this region, why did you not tell them to return the Ada and Eben? Maybe we won't be having these kind of problems today. Okay? But in another way, it's also a reminder of this reach and the stretch of how massive Benin, the kingdom of Benin, was as at that time. A majority of these people are even returning slaves. Yeah? And they were returning slaves that were negotiated during the reign of Oba Osemede. Okay? That was from the year 1816 when he came to the throne. And during that time, something happened. Immediately after the coronation, you know, of Oba Osemede, that's Prince Diawa, who later became Oba Osemede. Immediately after the coronation, something happened. All right, because normally these territories were Benin territories. So when a new Oba comes in, what normally happens is they send emissaries, okay, to send those every single kingdoms under Benin to let them know that we now have a new emperor, and then they will give, they will come along with a shock, Orwe, you know, which is essentially shock of good tidings, okay. So this Orwe will, you know, was sent to every single kingdom under the suzerainty of the Great Benin Empire. All right, whether that be Kale, whether that be Laje, whether that be Robos, whether that be Okbe, you know, so they were all sent these shocks. Okay, but the Udezi of Akure as at that time. Okay, now look at another thing that I was just explaining. You see that word? I just mentioned Udezi, but because of what I said about letter Z, you know, in Yoruba alphabet, you know, because of that letter Z that they find difficult to pronounce, except maybe some of the subgroups in their own distinct languages, which have now been relegated to become main dialects. Maybe they might have letter Z, but I'm talking primarily about the Oyo language. Okay? They now call that Udezi Deji. You can see, so they replace letter Z with letter J. Can you get the point? Yeah? So the Deji of Akure, as at that time, when Oba Osemede sent those shock of, he sent a chief called Chief Osagwe. Chief Osagwe was the one responsible for going to Akure to let them know that we now have a new king and that loyalty is expected as usual. Okay? So there's some ceremony that is supposed to happen. Okay? And then the Udezi of Akure will now have to accept and pay homage to the new emperor in Benin. But, you know, normally, you know, Benin has this, our traditional attire, our Pangoli dress, you know, with the Kora base, with the Kele, with the Odigba, with the armlets, with the, you know, the anklets, you know, and everything, all our ceremonial dressing. The Udezi of Akure at that time, whose name was Arakale. Okay, Arakale was very, very envious of the attire being worn by Chief Osagwe. Okay, and what did he do? He staged a quarrel. You know, it created some false flag operation, and then Osagwe was eliminated. He was killed. So Benin sent an emissary to Akure with a shock of good tidings. What did they do? They killed him. Now, after they killed him, the Dejina started using the Eben, yeah, you know, that that Osagwe brought, you know, including the dressing, the regalia, and the adornment. He started making use of it. So that was the very first time that somebody from the Southwest tried to misuse the Ada and Eben. You must not use the Ada and Eben unless you have been given the permission by the Benin monarch to use it. But he tried to make use of it. All right. So a lot of things happened, and then that led to the Benin Akure War of the year 1818. Okay. So after the Benin Akure War of 1818, Akure lost the war. All right. So Benin captured the son of Arakale, whose name was Osukpa. Osukpa was brought to Benin. After some years in prison, he was now coronated to become the new Desi of Akure and was sent back to Akure to go and rule his people. So you can see there have been punitive measures, all right, meted on people that try to misuse the Ada and Eben. But today, because of the cesspool called Nigeria, you know,
Okay.
what they like.
Yeah, Mr. Timber, your explanation, emphasis is based on Yoruba, the people of Oyo, and you said earlier that there was nothing like Ife. It is a British creation, political creation, to press the Benin Kingdom down. Okay, now I would like you to talk to the listener, people listening. How come about the creation of this political throne, that is the throne of Ife? How come into existence? And at the same time, what alleviated this throne to become the dominant throne above the ancient throne of Oyo? Please, sir, touch on this area, because it is Ooni of Ife. He is the one that is violating it. So I also feel that it is important for people to know the originality or illegality of the person sitting down on the throne, who is also violating this our traditional culture by using a Adanebe that it does not belong to him. So thank you, sir.
Okay. So already there was a shrine, okay, in that place, because every community has a shrine, you understand, that people take care of and all of that, okay?
Yes.
But at the same time, you know, they never had any form of priesthood or relationship, you know, with a monarchy, okay? That place called Ilefe was controlled by Oyo, controlled by the Alaafin in Oyo. You understand? Okay, so it was an Oyo territory. Okay, so like I said before, it was a quest of the British in trying to create a replica of the real Ife. The real Ife is in Kogi State, Omala local government area today. All right, so it was British attempt, you know, to create a replica. That was how they now named that place Ife. That was not what it was called. Okay, that was not what it was. Before then, there were people there practicing what they called Ikedu traditions. All right, so these people have no connection whatsoever with Yorubas. They were doing their own thing. They were their own people. until a shrine there was elevated by the British. Okay, so during the reign of Ooni Adesoji Aderemi, okay, who was coronated in the 1930s, and later on under the Action Group, he was a member of the Action Group. That was when Awolowo now elevated that throne to become what it is today. If you look at the original Ife, which is in Kogi State, the title there is Onu, yeah, Onu of Ife or Onu of Uhe. Okay, so they use the same name. Yeah, Onu, they turn it to Oni. They can say. So if you ask them now, what's the meaning of the Onu, they don't even know. Okay, so that's how that throne became. So the reason why it is prominent in Nigeria is because it is a creation of Nigeria. You get the point? It's a creation of Nigeria. And like I said, it was created to give a semblance of homogeneity to the people. Okay. Now look at the Alaafin during the times of the British. Say, for example, Alaafin Adelakan Olubuse, yeah, you know, who reigned from 1894 to 1910. That Alaafin was one of the Alaafin that was used primarily by British. British, just like in Benin, where you saw the way Obaseki was given the position, yeah, during the interregnum, all right? You saw the political power that was given to Obaseki, right? He even had the Obaseki boys, you understand, terrorizing people, you know, mistreating women, raping women, all right?
Can you please touch light on that? Because is also a subject of
Yeah.
project.
No problem.
Thank
I'll
you.
just try to fit it in, wherever I can, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
So the same way they were given that political authority, yeah? Look at, for example, the position of the Iyasere has always been chosen by the Benin monarch, okay, to be the prime minister. How come Ago Obaseki in Benin history, a history of over 4,000 years, right, that we can remember, that we can actually chronicle, okay? Nothing like that has ever happened. How come it was only Ago Obaseki that was appointed by the British? You see, but the person that Oba Eweka II actually promised to be the next Iyasere was Iyasere Okorotun from Otun in Ekiti State, because Otun, just like I said, those territories, our boundaries, our territorial boundaries between Oyo and Benin, okay, was actually at a place called Otun, which is in today northern Ekiti. Okay, northern Ekiti. And all the Alaafins at that time recognized it. Even before the formal demarcation in the year 1589, during the reign of Oba Hengbuda, okay, all the Alaafins at that time recognized the boundary at Otun, because an Ikimi tree was planted there to demarcate it, okay, when you are facing Benin, and then that's facing the east, and then facing the west, there was also a tree planted by the Oyo people to know that this is our boundaries. All the Alaafins at that time, Alaafin Abikpa, Alaafin Obalokun, Alaafin Oluodo, Alaafin Ajagbo, Alaafin Odarawu, Alaafin Oropoto, Alaafin Adelu Agunloye, all these Alaafins, all to the Alaafin Adeyemi Alowolodu, okay? During the period Benin was bombed, okay, Benin invasion. They all recognize this to be our boundary. The person that Oba Eweka II promised to be the next Iyasere was the Iyasere Okorotun that came from Otun in Ekiti State. But because of the British colonial enforcement through their savage and barbaric military oppression. Okay? The Oba of Benin had no other choice than to allow the imposition of Agwa Obaseki to be the Iyasera of Benin. So Agwa Obaseki, contrary to the opinion being shared elsewhere, saying that, oh, if Oba actually had problems with Obaseki, how come he was not made the Iyasera? Ladies and gentlemen, he was not made the Iyasera by the will of the Oba. He was made the Iyasera by the supreme dictates of the British, which is a copious aberration. It is a violation of our local ordinances, and the British allowed it to persist. Okay, so that's for that. Okay, so another thing that I would like to talk about, I was talking about how the first time that they tried to misuse the Ada and Eben, which was
Yes.
also, sorry?
I say yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you know. So after the Benin Akure war, Akure surrendered, and then their loyalty was renewed. And then Osukpa the first was, that was the son of Arakale, was installed, you know, with the blessing of our 7 there. Okay. So, just like I said before, it's the creation of these three political languages that has caused this problem that we are facing today. Okay? Because if not for this, I don't think anybody will have the intestinal or testicular fortitude to want to appropriate our cultural paraphernalia like the Ooni of Ife has been trying to do. Okay? So we must not allow this appropriation to work. It's been doing it since the beginning of October of this year. Okay? So we must overwhelmingly reject it. We must reject it with every fiber of our being. Because if we allow this to continue and persist, then in the next 20, 30 years, okay, then it would have been on the records that so and so Alaafin used it. You see, so there lies a problem. There lies a problem that we're facing right now. Okay, so this is the property of the Oba of Benin, is the property of the Benin monarch. You know, some people are even saying that, oh, the Adanebe came from Irin Kingdom. How can you actually check this out? Let's look at all the past Ooni of Ife and tell me which of them actually used it. Was it Ooni, Adelaka, Olubuse? They never use Adanebe. Okay? Does anybody, the proper Yoruba people in your state, in Oyo, do they use Adanebe? The answer is no. And some of them are even lying that Oromiyan was the one that brought Adanebe, because this is the authority that the Ooni of Ife is trying to stand on, because of the false history, all right, that Benin has some relationship with Ile-Ife, which is a lie. The only Ife that we have relationship with is Uhe in Kogi State, and it was our son, the Kaladeran, that went there, not the one in Osun State. They want to use Igarewa's book or Igarewa's record. Igarewa had no control when the publication is coming from Ibadan Pretty Press, where historical transposition of Benin history was the order of the day. Do you understand?
Very well, sir.
So these are the issues. Okay, so this matter will have to go to court. Okay, so that we define who actually owns it. The records are there. You go to the British Museum, you are going to see the Ada and Eben there, recorded as Benin heritage. Okay, the Ife people must come out and show us their artifacts. Okay, ancient artifacts of the Yoruba people, because obviously there was no such thing as Yoruba people until the 20th century. But when we go to court, they will come and show us ancient artifacts that depict any of their rulers or the Oonis where they were making use of Ada and Eben. This is not a laughing matter. Do you understand? This is not a joke. Okay? So we have the records in artifacts, ancient artifacts, far back as the 12th century of our use of Ada and Eben. So if Oromiyan was the one that brought the Ada and Eben, how come Oyo, because the same Oromiyan they said founded the Oyo empire or your kingdom. Okay.
Your kingdom.
Yeah. So obviously we have the Oyo Katunga, which was the first Oyo, which is even closer to here in Kogi State. Okay. So they must show us how come Oyo is not using Ada and Eben. Why is it this Ooni of Ife, and why 2025? Because they are trying to fill a gap. The wall they've been hitting anytime they try to distort our history. The Ooni of Ife must come and tell the Urobo people that he was the one that gave them the Ada and Eben. The Ooni of Ife must come out and tell the Ika people that he was the one that gave them the Ada and Eben. He must come out and tell the Ogba people in Rivers State that he gave them Ada and Eben. He must come and tell the Ikwere people that he gave them the Ada and Eben. So this is not something that we should take lightly. This is not something that we should just debate on the internet and let it go. The people right now is even gone to the point where it's now handing out our cultural symbols to women, something that women are not supposed to touch. That's an abomination. Okay? So we must push harder for this. Let them use their political expediency. Let them use their political power in Nigeria, in that contraption called Nigeria. Let them use their political expediency to quash our beef. Let them use it. Let them use their political power. Let them tell Tinubu to send military to Benin because we question the use of Ada and Eben. Do you understand? Because we have to put an end to this once and for all.
Yeah. I would like you, because in your earlier, you said you touched on how Ago was barbaric in his 17 years, how he had his boys, just like you describing, just like Ooni of Ife had his boys, so deducting of our history. So what makes you to link Ago with this present Ooni of Ife that said Ago of then had his boys who were doing a lot of Ago?
Yes, yeah. Okay. It's the same thing that happened, in Ife, in the 1900s. Okay, and how the Ooni of Ife was now like the paramount ruler, how he was forcing people, taking their properties, seizing their lands with the political power of the British, similar to what I was doing, because both of these positions, okay, were created or installed by the British. That's how the political power came, and that was why it was necessary to link our Obaseki to this issue, because that's exactly the same thing that he did. Okay, Agwa Obaseki became so much intoxicated with power, the newfound power given to him or empowered by the British, yeah, up to the point that people started paying allegiance to him. Okay, it was more or less like an antagonistic representation in Benin.
During this time when people are paying allegiance to him, the Oba was in the throne.
Yes, even when the Oba was on the throne, okay? Because before the Oba was on the throne, yeah? Remember, yeah, you cannot install a new Oba when Oba Vorame was still alive in Calabar.
Yes.
Oba Vorame stayed 17 years in Calabar. So there was an interregnum. And that was during that period that the British wanted to install a new Oba, okay? And they wanted to install Obaseki. It's more or less like a regime change. The same regime change that you now see in Iraq, the same regime change that you see in Syria, the same regime change that you are seeing in that they are trying to do in Iran, the same
Venezuela,
in Lebanon. You get the point, okay? Okay. So this was one of the first regime change, okay, carried out by the British. It was in Benin. You get the point, okay? So they wanted to install Obaseki Agwo Ogbedojo, yeah, immediately to become the next Oba. But that was not made possible because of the Benin protestation and how much they value their culture and their tradition. So they never wanted that level of violation of our local ordinances. Great chiefs such as the Chifero of Benin, okay? These are some of the people that stood firm to make sure that that was not a possibility. And when they discovered that that was not a possibility, so they now created a sort of interim Oba, okay? Which was more or less like as an Edayi, you get, you know?
And a Shonekon.
Yeah, more or less like an astronomical. Okay, so but this time around it was more than 6 months. Okay, it was 17 good years, almost 2 decades. So imagine someone being on the throne or being on the seat, acting like Oba, behaving like the Oba, wanting tributes to be paid to him like the Oba. You get the point, you know? So he became used to it, he became power drunk. Because when you are not a natural monarch, you cannot control it. Same thing with the current owner of Ife, whose father is still alive, who still have an elder brother. But because their traditions or whatsoever or lack thereof have been bastardized to the point where, a second son can become Ooni, yeah, simply because of their financial achievements. However ill their source of income might be. You see the problem? So that was the same position Agua Obaseki was, you know? So the owner of Ife at that time began to oppress people similar to what Obaseki did, you know? So that was Ooni Olubuse, okay? So that's the similarities there, okay? So it was a British.
Okay, after the coronation, ascension of the throne by Eweka II, this character that you just described of Aro, did this character still continue?
Absolutely. Okay, it became worse and became much irritated because he was their guy, he was the guy of the British, okay? And he never wanted to give up all the benefits associated with his internship, okay? So he
Yes.
wanted to continue. So he now saw the Oba as a rival, okay? Someone that was made just the inner of Ibiwe. He was now looking for more position because that was his position, inner of Ibiwe, okay? But it was now the British, because the British could not make him to become Oba based on the values and the, of our people, because of our Prince Agobasemi wrote to King George V in England. He wrote to so many people, so many rulers, all right, in Nigeria at that time, so many traditional rulers, okay, including the owner of Ife at that time, Lubise, who never replied him until after 2 years when he was coronated. You can say. So there is no relationship whatsoever with these people. Okay. So after Eweka II retained the throne, Obaseki continued with his shenanigans. But this time around, since the British could not make him the Oba, they imposed him as the Iyasere to be the eye, to be the watchman for them. Okay. So it was more or less an instrument of the British to checkmate, his own father. So that's essentially what happened there. And that's why I drew that relationship.
Okay. When we look at it, present day today, we are still witnessing the kind of backstabbing from Godwin Obaseki. If I may ask you, Mr. Timber, is it unlike Ago or like Ago? I mean the grandson. Is it unlike or like Ago? All his antecedents as a governor for that 8 years. Can you draw a link? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, a leopard cannot change his spots. Okay. So that is the case of Ago and his bastard grandson called Godwin. So it's the same thing. They've always been usurper, and he tried to become a usurper. You know, so it's more or less as an incarnation of Ago. He almost came to finish or complete what he could not do, he could not achieve. And thank God our ancestors stood firm, and today all their plans failed. Mowa failed. The Nige configuration failed. Okay, every single thing that they planned, they all failed. He tried to bring it elsewhere to continue from where he stopped. It failed. You see, so now he's getting very irritated. He has no other option than to start moving up and down. you know. So trying to rewrite their history, trying to clear his name. And in the process of doing so, he's involving himself more. People are now even fully aware of the antecedents of his ancestry. So that's
Still on Adanebe, and I'm using Obaseki as a case reference. Obaseki said in London that the artifact was looted in different houses. As at this time, when during the Benin invasion, let me see, some years before the Benin invasion, Adanebe, was it a common thing that you can easily find in the house of Edo people in the the center, this center now? I'm not just talking about.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, not just the Adan and them, but the Benin artifact. That was what Obaseki was laying claims to. That it belongs to the entire Benin. When we all know that it's only the Oba, the Benin monarch, that could summon the royal gates of brass casting and record keeper, which is Igweon, okay, to make this artifact as a representation or a remembrance. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that was not the case. It was after the looting. The only time that ordinary people started having access to any sort of artifact or Benin art, okay, was
Yes.
in the reign of Oba Eweka II, when he now told the Igun, instructed the Igun to start manufacturing more, to start replacing some of the things that were stolen. You understand? So
Yeah.
the Igun, they have to memorize from heart, you know, to start
Mm-hmm.
trying to reconstruct these materials. Okay. So there was never a time before the invasion, you know, where Benin people had access to the artifacts. And even the palace chiefs and the others, you know, maybe some of them might have ukuhure in their houses and none of that. But there's no record of the British going from homes to loot any ukhure. Do you understand? Many of the people still maintain their ukhure even after the invasion. Okay? The records are there. If you go to the British Museum, the Chicago Museum, the Smithsonian Museum, they will tell you where the provenance is. And Obaseki is claiming to be educated. It's absolutely foolish for him not to understand what the word provenance is all about. Go and check the provenance. Did they say the provenance is a compound at somewhere in Ugbekun? No. The provenance is at the Oba Palace. Okay? That's where all these words were stored. You can see the pictures, the images of the British savages, you know, burning down our palace, you know, and being very gleeful in the atrocities they've committed. So we know where the provenance is. So whatever is saying there is a mischaracterization of and a misrepresentation of the true history of events. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, my comrade. Another thing again, we all know how come about the creation of Midwest. You talked about it, how the Europeans, the British, tried to incorporate Benin into the Yoruba, and they thank God for our God-given king of Akenzua that fought vehemently that lead to the creation of Midwest that later become Bender State. A lot of people is saying, "Oh, bygone politics, never bygone politics." I want to ask you, sir, that act, that singular act alone. I know there are many times our Oba have come in, save the day when necessary, and the last one was as a father, call of duty by the nature, by the land, and he answered. That was about Akenzua, the formation of Midwest. What will you call that, sir? Is that not politics? So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, the mistake that people are making is this. You know, we were once a country, yeah? And
Yes.
what happens in a country is politics. And if you
Yes.
check the different forms of politics, you are going to see monarchy as part of it. Democracy is part of it.
Yes.
Authoritarianism is part of it. Do you understand? You
Yes.
know? So the Oba of Benin or the Benin monarch, you know, it's not just the religious and the spiritual representation of our people. It's the political embodiment and the administrative, conduit of our people. Okay? So when you talk about Oba, you're talking about politics. When you talk about Oba, you're talking about government. You can see, so the Oba is the government. And what has happened in Nigeria today is that in a Edo land, where the Oba lives, where the Oba resides, okay, instead of Nigeria to be wise enough to officially gazette Edo land to be ruled solely by the Benin monarch, okay, they created this vacuum there. They created this vacuum where a commoner, an ordinary commoner, a slave to the British, will not be the one, to be in charge of the states, a state that is supposed to be controlled by the Oba. You can see, so that's why some people feel, that the Oba shouldn't be involved in politics because they feel their position has been totally relegated. But if not for the steadfastness of the Edo people to say no, as a matter of fact, we need our Oba to be involved now more than ever, in trying to secure our territories, secure our people, make sure that our tradition never go into extinction, So I believe that the politicians must do more than enough to entrench the position of the monarch prominently, in the bylaws that governs Edo people, irrespective of where the federal government or, whatever the federal government thinks about it. This is our duty as a people to do, to make sure that our Oba is fully enshrined. These are the same people that go to pay homage to the Queen of England or the King of England. Yeah, you never hear them casting such aspersions to the monarchy in Britain, and this is a monarchy that is way younger than the Benin monarchy. Do you understand? Imagine we can trace our monarchy from the year 40 BC up to date. But the people in England cannot trace our ancestry, far back. The beginning of their monarchy is from the 12th century. That's where they can trace it. And even at that, they've had 66 kings and queens. Yeah. And out of those 66 kings and queens, that came from 10 different dynasties. The current dynasty now ruling is the House of Windsor. We had the House of Godwin. We had the House of Tudors. Do you understand? And so many other houses. But in Benin, we have the same, even though we try to break it into two dynasties, which is the Ogiso dynasty and the Eweka dynasty, right? But it's the same lineage. Because we were ready to go into republicanism after we never saw the whereabouts of Prince Caladera, you see. So, because of the exile of Prince Caladera, and a lot of people thought he was actually executed by the warriors sent by Ogiso Owodo, okay, to carry out because of the treachery of Esago, one of his wives. But we now later found out that he was at a place called Uhe, which is in Kogi State. And we went back there to go and look for him. He said he was too old to come back, and he sent his son to come back. So it's still the same dynasty, the same lineage of Ogiso Owodo. So in real sense of it, we have just one dynasty and over 73 kings. Can you imagine that? So that's to tell you the power of continuity, the power of primogeniture, and to tell you, how in high esteem we value our traditions, that would not just allow anyone to come and sit in there. Like these Yoruba people are trying to say that Oromiyan came and became Oba. Yeah? He said it's Ebony and he ran away, but somehow he left his son. If he came for invasion and left his son, what do you think irrational people will do to the son? Are they going to allow him to live or die?
They will unalive that child.
They will unalive him, you say. So these are some of the inconsistencies in their false historical narratives.
Okay. You made a reference to our uncle, Egareva, that Ibadan press, we know. The only printing press as then was in Ibadan. It was the flesh due to the Yoruba political power. During this time, Gaius Obaseki was the ESL of Benin. Am I correct?
Do you know which time?
Of Egareva, I said the ESL of Benin then was Gaius Obaseki.
It was Gaius, yeah.
Yes. What role did they also play? I mean, the guy.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. He was a member of the Ogboni fraternity. Okay. Do you
Yes.
understand?
Yeah.
And he wanted it to be incorporated. He even wanted Ogboni to be part of the palace societies, you know, which our Oba rejected vehemently, you know. So that then it was a battle between him and the son of Oba Eweka II, which was Oba Kenzwa II. That was another battle that Oba Kenzwa has to fight. You understand? You know?
Meaning Gaius is one of the people that engineered the formation of Ugboni in Edo State.
Benin, yeah. Along with one of the sons of Oba Eweka, you know, Oba Eweka II. You understand? So, you know, so that was what happened as at that time. And you know, when politics is involved, a lot of people, a lot of political actors, you understand?
Because why I asked, as the prime minister, that is the role of the ESL. When a book is being launched that diminish the authority and history and reputation of the kingdom, the ESL is supposed to speak. And it happens that the ESL of then is a figure, a controversial figure. I mean the name, Gaius Obaseki. So that name Obaseki, you know, a ring bell, whether it's for positive or negative. A lot of people want to know. That is the main reason I put an underline and ask, what was the role of Gaius Obaseki then when Egareva was writing all this book, or when Yoruba influenced the story to go against the Benin Kingdom? I think he has said he's supposed to be the first person to speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, obviously they were all behind it. It was all a concocted arrangement, okay? And we saw how the Yoruba people were celebrating the book written by Egareva. Can you imagine that? A lot of Edo people, including my grandfather told me about it. Anytime you mention Egareva and all of that, you know, it tells you that he was an evil man, he was influenced, he was this, he was that. Do you understand? And it talks about Gaius, it talks about Awo, you know, and everything that had happened. So he was the one, obviously I wasn't born then, but he was the one that first told me, this was around 1986, 87, you know, how the political association, they call Yoruba, how they were all celebrating that an Edo man, even though he's from Idare is not in Ondo State, okay, was an Edonekwe, you understand? You know, so how they were all celebrating the book. And another thing again, you know, to defend the Gariba in a bit, because knowing what I know now, I now understood that even when the book was published, Gariba, you know, was not having eye problems, okay? Because remember, he died a blind man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he never actually saw or read, you know, that the book that he published, you know, because the way corporate publication work is this, you know, is the publisher that is going to influence the content of the work, you know. And remember, these are people that were already set up, you know, to have a linguistic identity and to use it as an avenue for territorial.
Okay, during this time of Yoruba intimidation, which it is so vividly clear, even till now, we are seeing how they try to disfranchise the Edo out of it, which they have succeeded in doing because a lot of our politicians also are not patriotic enough. That is another day. So, what role did Dago play in during this time? What role? I want you to.
This is what we're saying. Anything
I mean,
unimaginable.
Gaius, the president,
Is
the
the
prime
same.
minister. Just touch on it, sir. A lot
Yeah.
of
You know, it's the same thing that we're talking about. Okay. At the end of the day, yeah, he never
yeah,
did anything that is going to be in favor, okay, of Benin. Do you understand?
yes,
Any single thing that is going to say to be um that's going to be in favor of Benin, he has to have that consultation with his Uboni members. You get, you
okay,
know, he has to take the permission from the Uboni members. And if the Uboni rejects it, then he has to contest. You know, he has to contest the Oba against it. You can say, you know, so if the Oba say yes, he will have to say no. You see the problem? You know, including even having access to some palace material that is not supposed to have access to. But because we still had the remnants of the British looking around, he was empowered. It was a burden to do everything that he did. You get? So it's just a continuation of Ago. Okay? The continuation of Ago is a continuation of Obedo Ojo, is a continuation of Osifo Oyo. You see? So yeah, there's nothing much that we can say, other that we are grateful to the Almighty God that most of these things now as now, you know, fully behind us, although we are still suffering from the remnants. You understand? You know, we're sorry for the remnant. I don't know how our Ido people missed it completely. You know, Guy Osobaseki was the one that instigated the fight between he created what they call the Edo elite. Yeah, those people
yes,
that were educators at that time. You know, and they were all parts of the Ogboni fraternity. And they were also called the tithe payers of Benin, or whatever they call themselves at that time. But another intellectual called Chifoma Osage, you know, in trying to combat the propagation of Ogboni fraternity, he decided to form the Otuedo, you know, or the Owigbe Society, you know, to try to fight these people. So it was a bloodshed. I think Shifuti Tenegabe will be in a better position because that was his father. You understand? You know? So I think he will be in a better position to actually tell us about it from first-hand experience. Okay? But from what I know, that there was a massive war between Ogboni and Owigbe society. And later with government power, during the Coca Commission, Owigbe was now proscribed to be a terrorist organization. You see? While Ogboni was left untouched, you know. So that's one of the things that can come to mind now, one of the atrocities of Gaius Obaseki.
when you said Owigbe was labeled a terrorist by the government or just hearsay, by the government of the day?
By the government, by the is it Coca Commission? Yeah, by the government. There was a commission set up because there were so many battles, spiritual battles, even physical battles, you know. Anywhere they find that or with the people were doing meetings, they go and set fire there, you know, or we use their spiritual means to go and fight these people. They eliminated so many Ugboni members. And even during the quest for the Midwest region, Owigbe was
Yes.
instrumental, you know, because the Ugboni people, they were with the Action Group, you understand, and not NCNC. So, you know, even people like Anthony Naro, I get so pissed off when people say, oh, it was a great man, this is what he did. He was the first person to advocate the independence of Nigeria. It was an Ugboni man. He was a member of the Action Group. He was vehemently against the creation of the Midwest region. But today at Usadebia Avenue, they have a statue there. You see? if I have the grace and the opportunity and the fatherly disposition of the Benin monarch to ever step my feet into that governor's office as the governor of the state, that will be the first thing I will do. I will remove that statue from there straight away. I will remove that Enaroro status from that place. You see? So these are some of the things. We are glorifying, terrorists, the people that tied our people down. You get? All right? People that were used by the British, people that were used by the Western region, people that were used by Nigerian politics. We are not glorifying them today. Same thing they say about Ahomo. Is it the same Ahomo that allowed part of our land to be ceded to Ondo State when he was chairman of the National Boundary Commission between 1991 and 1992? Is it the same Ahomo that voted for or supported the establishment of Warri Port instead of Benin Port? Do you get? As far as the thing was not coming to his side, where it comes from, okay? In Edo Central, they wanted it to go to elsewhere. So these are some of the people, just like you said, we've never had any patriotic Edo people, to have that access to power. People that we've had over the years, whenever they acquire this political power as a governor, the next thing they want to do is to challenge their father, is to undermine the authority and the influence of their father. So that has always been a problem, So it's a sad tale, it's a sad tale. And all these things, I hope we are going to be documenting all these issues because these are paramount. Because whenever we are ready to wake up and take the fight to the British through a litigation process, through a judicial review, okay? One of the things they are going to ask us is, this thing happened 128 years ago. Why are you coming now? Do you understand? Okay? This thing has passed the statute of limitation. Why are you coming now? And the only way out of that would be, it's just that now we can now demonstrate the ongoing harm as a result of the loss of our sovereignty, as a result of the illegal annexation of our territories. So you can see the ongoing harm. You get the point? So everything Obaseki has done, everything Nigerian government has done, we all have to contribute to build our case. Okay? So
thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so let's just try to round up.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. That's what I said. So if there's any caller, they can call to ask you a question.
Okay, just take one or two calls.
Yeah. I'll stay to like it's to 10 now. Yes,
so we just call it a day.
Yeah, thank you for your explanation. Please, Olatuko, can you play that video where that woman were putting
no.
People have no idea.
No. That one is
that video,
no, maybe for the next other broadcast. For the next broadcast.
The question that can come, and Ipa or Timba, any of them can answer.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, I greet you. I greet everyone.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah, I have two questions that I want to ask that our brother. The first question is that I personally disagree with some of the Benin story, which my own belief, I don't really know I can show. One, the word Owomika. So I have some Benin story said Owomika is a Yoruba word, which personally I disagree with it because personally I have a meaning for that. I don't know if it's going to be the same with any historian. Then the second one is in 1909, a German discovered an Ooni head in Malaysia. which today you can still see those Ife head in some of the museums today. So if this our brother is saying that the present Ife is not the original Ife, so how come there's discovered some Ife head in a particular house in Ife? So I just want that please my brother to enlighten me or to tell me more about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Timber.
Yeah, okay. I think his question is of twofold, okay? It talks about a German, that discovered some artifacts at Leife, okay? That German that he was talking about is a man called Leo Frobenius, okay? If you read the work of Leo Frobenius, he actually said, okay, that those artifacts that were discovered there had no resemblance of the people that lived there. And again, it was in a single compound that those things, about 13 of them were dug out. Okay? That's what they now use today. The question is this: before the 1910 that those things were discovered in that compound, what was the cultural symbol of the Ife people? Can you tell us that, sir? What was the cultural symbol they were using? Okay? And on the issue of a war maker, has nothing whatsoever to do with the Yoruba people. Because at that time, there was no such thing as Yoruba. Yoruba is a political association, okay, that was created, all right, by the British with the use of people like Ajayi Crowther. Check out the time that Ajayi Crowther was returned to Nigeria as a returning slave. Look at the period that he was sent to Britain to go and learn linguistics. Do you understand? It's similar to Igbo Ukwu artifacts, for example. They'll tell you that Igbo Ukwu artifacts, you have the those things were dug from the ground as well. Okay? And I can admit to you today that up to date, there is no historical site. I went to OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University. So I know Ile-Ife like the back of my hand. Not just Ile-Ife, I know Osun State like the back of my hand. Okay? And there's no such thing there. They talk about terracotta art. They don't have any historical sites of bronze casting, brass casting, iron smithing. There is none. So how can you make artifacts when you don't have these resources? Even up to date, if you go to Igun, they will tell you that people coming from the southwest, they come to Igun to come and make their artifacts. The current one that they are moving about is being made at Igun. All right? That Igun that you're looking at there, it's been there from time immemorial, and it's still there today. The families are well recognized. Come and show me one compound where they are making artifacts at Ile-Ife. So there's none. Okay? So that's a fallacy, similar to what happens at Igbo Ukwu art. If you look at, even the same Leo Frobenius was the one that told the Ooni of Ife that since you have Orisha for so many things, why don't you have Orisha for lies? Why don't you have Orisha for stealing? Because you people are liars and thieves. Because these people, the Leo Frobenius, the Jama, he was robbed. Okay? These are the same people that told you about Orun Oba Ado, that every Oba of Benin, whenever they pass away, okay, that they have to take their head, their father's head, and bury that a place called Orun Oba Ado. Then a French archaeologist, Frank Willett, came around in the 1960s to do an excavation there. He conducted an excavation there, and there was nothing found. But these people still continue perpetrating the lies, the historical falsities, all right, because they are looking for ways to harness the great Benin Empire, our history, our traditions, our culture. Okay? So the first thing you have to ask yourself, who are the Yorubas? I've talked about it. Is it the Oyo people? Yeah, those are the real Yorubas. Not somebody from Ogun that is now speaking Yoruba today as a result of colonial enforcement. Okay? So there's no such thing. The artifact found at Ile-Ife, even the description of it, yeah, the description of the head that they found at Ile-Ife is that of the Nupe people, not of the people that practice the Kedu tradition at Ile-Ife. These are the verifiable facts. Thank you.
In addition to that, Sir Timber, in addition to that, those artifacts that were found in that compound were buried there during the invasion of 1897.
Exactly.
So they buried those artifacts in that compound because they knew a time will come for them to assume it for their own selfish propaganda. So that is why they don't have any burning fires too for creating artifacts. So those artifacts that were buried in Osun State, in Ile-Ife, were a part of the artifacts that the British robbed from the Benin Kingdom. So those beneficiaries were the ones that buried those artifacts there. But they knew that the time will come for them to assume it. And they did it, and it cannot be found elsewhere apart from that compound. And those people were a part of those people that helped the British during the invasion of 1897. Those were their spoils given to them.
That I understand where you're coming from, sir. Yeah, that is what you just said now. Yeah, is 100% true. Yeah, or let me say 98% true of Igbo art. Yeah, most of all these people, because remember they were returnee slaves. Some of them were slaves that were negotiated by during the reign of our
Now, please, with the kind permission, see Baba Tishitom.
What's going on? Can I continue?
No, continue.
Okay. You can see the way they are carrying the other Eben as if it's something. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine another person just walk by with another Eben? This is a provocation. This is a provocation. Okay? And it is time we, the Edo people, stood up. Okay? And challenge them. Let them use their political power in Nigeria. Okay? But this matter must end in the court of law. Okay? It must end in the court. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine? Just look at this. You have given a woman a Benin royal paraphernalia, a paraphernalia that is sanctioned, that is supposed to be sanctioned by Emidu. It is a Emidu that dictates who has access and not to our cultural symbols. Look at the way they've turned our own artifacts, our own cultural symbols to become an open source that is open for artistic experimentation. This video is getting me angry. You know.
Now the reason why I don't want plan, because last time I checked the video, for me that's the reason why the way the verse now be don't want plan, because Ooni chief prince not be Oba. Last time I checked, I never remember a chief prince work me bende. Benin thought they were boy. Even the Oba of Lagos, we know the tradition. Many Obas they are not be only Ooni of Ife, be the Yoruba people. The many. The rest not they behave like this.
Yeah, Lakoko, the reason why I wanted to play it is that a lot of people are out there who have not seen the video and what we are talking about. No matter how painful it is, seeing is believing. That's what a lot of people believe. And I even saw that, according to the story, they said that the Olu of Wari was there in that ceremony. Okay? If it is true, the Olu of Wari was there in that ceremony. Olu of Wari is from Benin. Is the son of Oba Olua of 1475 to 1480. Is the Olu of Wari, which is also the brother to the Enogie of Eho, the ex-Enogie, or the suspended Enogie of Eho. The suspended Enogie of Eho and the Olu of Wari are the same father, the same mother. From the Oba Olua in 1475 to 1480. How can Olu of Wari be in such a place whereby they are defaming the symbol of the territorial integrity of the Oba of Benin, and he stood there watching.
So when you are saying Olu of Wari, you will put it clear. Say your brother, your uncle, your junior brother. So go ahead.
That's why I equate him with my father, the suspected Enogie of Eho. Okay, so for Olu of Wari, my cousin or brother, whichever position we stand with each other, ought not to be in such ceremony. Truth be told, if it is true, he's the one that is the Olu of Wari.
He was there.
Yeah, if that is the Olu of Wari in that ceremony, for me, it is an eyesore for such a prominent ruler in a Delta province to stood to watch a woman holding Ada and Eben in her hand, a woman that is in a period. A woman that is. Do you know why? Do you know there was a woman that was supposed to be a king in Benin? Princess Imadeya. Okay, fine. She was when Oba Olua was asked to become the king, he refused because of his younger brother. They approached the princess to become the king. She accepted, but what happened during the procession? She fell into menstrual period. Then the Uzamani here said, we cannot be dragging blood in such a ceremony. That's why they banned a woman becoming the Oba of Benin from that time. So here we are, a woman, same period, holding Ada and Eben in her hand. Ada in the right hand, Eben in the left hand. A symbol of authority in Benin Kingdom. That is an abomination that we all the Benis must frown on. It is time we call a spade a spade. This is an abomination, and the Ooni of Ife should be held accountable for this atrocity he has committed. We must not let it slide, according to our brother Batimba.
This particular one and the testing of the mic will concern this particular matter. So
exactly.
I believe we'll see the carry the way we see him, we disagree with him, and we'll go see the carry our headers. Okay, I got invite our Jaime. Go invite them, they come. So they need to come tell us more about this Adan Eben. I remember our brother Izoduwa. When he do marriage, congrats Izoduwa. Do marriage, go marry for take a wife now from something Yoruba, something like that. When they begin to use Ben, the dance, immediately they call out to book. Ooni, the chief prince, know about what happened. Year. So they really
what led to the
comrade Izoduwa still let us apologize immediately. So this particular one, now we will begin to call our leaders, our Hepa, our Baba, may they can't tell us whether these people, now they are cautious with that, they get right to handle them. For we disagree. But once we don't hear from our elderly men, then we will come know. So if they ever get right to the whole Adam Eben, it concern a woman that they give. That means all those that they are on a gbogbo yeke. Because last time I checked, on a year from during this broadcast, our comrade Timber, the educators, let we ever know now, say even the chief prince, he gets senior brother, he get papa. You understand me? So if papa not free carry the chief prince, his senior brother not free carry him, they go carry and give junior one. So now money, anybody when if you billionaire now, yours come from Yoruba land, immediately they'll give her that chief prince. They'll give her. So for their culture, we don't feel they use them till they compare our own. But the only thing when we disagree with it, when you wait they listen to me now, when we go watch this broadcast later. When last you don't see Ooni of Ife come out, come they carry Adam Eben. Una don't ever see him say he sit down when somebody go Adam. Somebody go Adam.
I just said that
you don't ever see him. So all this this one be Benin people pride. So he define way where now people like us, like go still later and know say all those things when they do for them, now gbogbo yeke. We know the woman or the con they carry shift for our place. You understand? So most of when you see that particular video, when you reverse una. As we plan just now, una see the way Congress say make I break am down. Make una not too verse. Una not too verse. Okay? Anything where she prince, anything where you like, make it they do. Now if a day for do am. So family they not carry that their dance can't spoil our own. Because last time I checked, he don't tell when he define how we want to get issue. He don't tell when they define am. The only Oba one they respect for Yoruba land, that be that Oba of Lagos. The man they talk truth. He go tell you as he day. I think another one, Oba of Oyo or something like that. All those
Exactly.
ones, they stand for truth. They know they beat around the bush. So
And
this
even the word Oba, my brother, even the word Oba, right? You know, was never in their lexicon. Do you understand? Until the Benin invasion. The first Alaafin, you know, that they used that word Oba to describe was Alaafin Aderemi Alowolodo. After Oyo was bombed, you know, in the year 1894. So nobody was using that title Oba. The Oba of Lagos was not Oba of Lagos. It was Ileko of Eko. Just like we have Oleko, you understand? So it was Oleko of Eko. That was his position. Just like the Odezi of Akure that I made mention of. That's the title. Alaafin of Oyo, that's the title. Timi of Ede, that's the title. Awujale of Ijebu, that's the title. Alake of Igba, that's the title. Oluwo of Uwo, you understand? That's the title. You made mention of Ooni ever used it. Of course, even this Ooni, Ife people, they don't even know the chronological development or the historical development of their people. They don't even know.
This will be
People are
the
calling now.
last
People.
caller for the day.
Yeah.
This will be the last caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Yes, so I believe the Caladera introduced that Ada and Eben to Ife.
Thank you very much.
100% believe the Caladera took that Adam and Eben to death. The another thing that a lot of people is not aware, a lot of Benin were not aware. During the time of the 1897, after the fall of the Benin Kingdom, the British excavate the Ife head in the palace and took it away to British. And that head is according to research, it's about 800 to 900 years. It's the oldest bronze head in history. But when the time will come, when they will return these things back, so that the Yoruba will not claim it. As I speak to you now, that head is in British Museum. That head was not taken from Ife. It was taken from
all right. Thank you. Yeah, my congrats. You will not. After this, my contribution, you just say one or two things. We call it a day. Okay, this is your testing of the mic. So my people, make una free share this particular broadcast. Okay, so that people we never understand, may they still know. Okay, we all they learn. According to this caller, and I really agree with her. When I say our son Caladera will go Ile-Ife. When I know the history.
That is Olakoko, please don't proceed with that thought, please, okay? Because everything that caller just said. Can you guys hear me clearly?
We can hear you clearly.
Go ahead.
Everything that caller just said is totally false. Okay, a Caladera was in exile, he was running for his life. Okay, he never had access to any Ada event to take to anywhere. Okay, and there is no Ooni in history to ever use the Ada event. Well, starting from say, because even their Ooni, the one that we can date, would be Ooni Daring Ologbela. Yeah, he never used Ada event.
Before our Caladera come out for
Caladera did not take Ada.
We got the listen, bros, comrades. Before Caladera come out, Ada event don't they exist for our place? Yes or no?
Yes.
But we don't need to carry Ada event follow body. If he reach there, of course, if he say yes.
No.
If he to do that to them,
That's not
No,
what
no, no.
happened.
Please don't say that. Olakoko, don't say that.
Am I
Please.
introduce anyhow?
Please don't
Am I
say that.
introduce anyhow? Am I
That's not
introduce
what
anyhow?
happened. You get?
Don't
Because that caller totally.
don't confuse the people, please. Don't say that.
Am I introduce anyhow?
When you are
No,
dealing with history,
the caller
when you are
will
dealing
talk
with
now, freedom of speech. You want to know. You know,
But
that
it's
is
a
why
freedom,
don't
then
the
his
question.
freedom must not be a lie. His freedom
what
must
he
be
said is
true,
a
not lie.
You get?
Yes, now. Wait till he talk. He said maybe na Kaladera into.
No,
No,
a historical fact, no maybe. Historical fact, no maybe.
Then if to say that truth, say that Kaladera introduce her to them, they're supposed to use her for long.
For long, exactly.
They're supposed to use her for long.
Exactly.
So that means that they just they do them, just the way people they change cream, they see people, they
Exactly.
for them now Adam, but they feel they want to upgrade. No,
please, I want to let me address that.
Hold on, my comrades, you will conclude. Not be Adam, maybe they want to upgrade. You understand? All that is the day. May they look for their own history, where they come from. Because last time I checked, if you ask them, they go say they name me whether you fall come from sky. I never see where you might be fall come from sky. If you ask them, say, Ooni of Ife, na so you fall come from sky. I never see person where you fall come from sky. All you might be for this world. Now bond. So me never see one where they fall come from sky. So their history, me I don't want to challenge them. But when they just did their lane. When they did their lane. That's why when I see our Baba according to our comrade Timba, when he educate us, he let us know about these labels. He used one language, he said whether Ooni of Ife like her or not. You understand? Because now yours, if Papa supposed to date that Ooni of Ife or his senior brother, they go carry and give junior one. Do when they write here say whether Ola not be Yoruba. May I follow you? They argue whether Ola and Yoruba. My name now me shorting that name to Ola Koko. Not be saying a Yoruba name. My name, my father name na Ola Boy. My friends they call me Ola Koko. Then now I've used that word Ola Koko to create page. So I don't tell you say Ola, not they follow you. Ola go be Yoruba and I follow you the arguer. Osa na una name. Osa na una name. So what you say una Yoruba name? We hear say they use beans they do marriage. We know they use beans they do marriage. We know even they chop beans say Christmas Day will come they cook beans. No. Now tomorrow run our son and see get owo. So I beg. Una carry Ogboni come our place. All baba thing now they carry they come. You know we all they keep on for una side. So why the matter not go to involve Seki Ogyoba? You go to involve am Edo Seki. Then you go carry Ogboni come. So what are you saying? So Ola not be, I not follow you, they argue Ramu. Carry Ola go that side. Oluwole, Ola, name now una get them. So that's so it be. So my comrades, I believe you just say one or two things, please we call it a day. I beg, we'll be saying that 1 hour Wednesday.
Yeah. I will not allow that misinformation to fly, okay? Because he came in here and said 100%. Okay, you can't come here to make an assumption without providing any form of historical research that is verifiable. Okay, if you look at the list of all the Oonis, okay, whether from Olongbela, whether from Olubise the first, whether from Ajagun, whether from Aderemi, the one that was operated by Awolowo, whether it's Olubise the second, and the current one they called what was the idiot's name again? Adeyeye and the one that is misbehaving right now. Okay.
Yeah.
None of them used Ada and Eben. Okay. And the Kalade ran, had no rights or no, was because if he's going to take the Ada and Eben, he must be blessed by Emidu to go ahead. And again, it is not the location. I started this lecture by talking about the location. I made mention of Omala local government in Kogi State several times. And yes, the caller still came in here. Right, to give a loophole or to give that false narrative that somehow maybe a Kaladera took the other and Eben to Ife, and that's the reason they are using it. That is not true. Okay, that is false, total false. Okay, and I will not be on any platform where they will be discussing this kind of issues, and I don't react to it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my people.
National item, Edo.
Thank you very much. Let me check for the video. We
Hold
really
on,
appreciate every one of
let
you.
me play the main one. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Number
We go. 24 bits. Yeah. Okay. And can you guys hear it? Can you hear this tone?
Go ahead.
We can't hear you too. Mr. Timber, check your system. It's not working.
No, it's not working.
Not coming
Olakoku,
up.
not
Okay,
working.
use the other one. I think a situation like this, we need to appeal to all the Benin's, both home and abroad. We have to take our cultures.